Hi guys, it's a beautiful weekend here again. This is the voice of TRADEWITHWORLDBANK, and if this is the first time you are entering into my YouTube channel, make sure to click on the subscribe button. So today we're going to definitely be looking at weekly analysis, what we should be expecting for next week, and what's happened last week when we analyzed, and then how it's played out. Also, we're going to be looking at volatility indices for analysis also. So let's start with the currency index, which is Euro CHF, Euro USD, and then GBP, JPY. So starting with Euro CHF, last week, I remember this played out nicely last week. Last 2 weeks, this played out. This one dropped about 300 pips. And then last week we stopped here. If I can remember clearly, I was talking about this supply zone, but I said I'm not really sure if this supply zone is going to hold because it's so near and market might want to pull back aggressively to this point. But fortunately, as you can see, markets played out around that supply zone nicely. Market played out around the supply zone nicely. And then if you have been following my analysis on this YouTube channel, you could have taken this trade and being beautiful profits of 150 pips, as beautiful as that. So this week again, let's see what we have for this week. We are definitely starting off with the weekly time frame. You can see everything is strongly bearish. Everything has been so bearish, and then we are just looking for opportunities to continue going down. The 1 hour is straight aggressively bearish also. Now moving into the 4-hour time frame, I can see that we have a marking of the supply zone here. We have a supply zone here. Entering to the 1 hour time frame, we can decide to refine the zone. Decide to refine the zone and look for selling opportunities around this supply zone here. Yeah, so this is my expectation on Euro CHF for next week. I'm expecting markets to react to this supply zone or this supply zone because we had multiple break of structures. We had a break of structure here, but you can see this one is currently at exactly at market price, so I'm not expecting much from it. I'm expecting this bigger zone because it's more in like a premium level. You understand? So using Fibonacci now, let's try to delete all we have here since we saw that that's played out nicely. Let's draw the Fibonacci tool. Let's draw it from the high to the low. Oh, my Fibonacci is not yet designed. So when looking at this zone, this supply zone here is above 0.5, and then I'll consider it as a very good level to look for selling opportunities from because it's more higher than a zone here. Remember, we always want to buy low and sell high. So the law applies everywhere. Buy low and sell high to maximize profits. So this is my analysis for Euro CHF. This is looking cool, it's looking clean, and since this supply zone had been mitigated from last week's supply, I'm expecting this supply to continue giving us bearish trends. Now let's move to GBP JPY. Yeah, GBP JPY also, I was explaining an entry here, and then we took a loss on this supply zone trying to sell. Using the entry model we'll be talking about on the YouTube channel. Now I was expecting a demand from here and then another demand from here also, which I have drawn out very clearly, but they are still intact. So I wouldn't say they are invalid. Okay, they are still intact, and I'm expecting reactions from these zones. Definitely I'll be looking for my entries. I want it to swim inside this zone, give me confirmation entry, or either of these zones. You understand? Give me the confirmation entry I need. That is what I'm looking for on either of those levels. Okay, now we have the supply zone drawn out from before, breaking structure, giving us a nice supply zone, selling aggressively, and looking at it, the first supply zone didn't hold, so I'll delete that. Now the second supply held nicely and it's dropped very well, but I won't go deep into the entries for today. Now as we can see, GBP JPY has been trending bullish on the weekly time frame, even on the daily time frame also. So let's move into the 4-hour time frame and the 1-hour time frame for daily executions. Yeah, these two demand zones are still very active and valid to me. Very valid to me, so I wouldn't delete those zones. Then next is yes, I would like this demand zone here because we've got some nice liquidity here that market might want to grab before giving us the proper move in our direction. So that is what I'm waiting for right now. And after mitigating this supply zone, remember we had the supply zone that was mitigated here nicely. Market dropped from there, and then from there markets change character, give us a break of structure and the likes. But still market hasn't mitigated anything on that so far. So this might be a change of trend. I don't know yet. There's also a supply zone over here, which market is reacting actively to, you understand? So yeah, I'm looking at these two zones for sales into these demand zones to buy. Okay, so that is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting sales to buy. Remember, daily is bullish, 4 hours is bullish, even the 1 hour. Now take a look at the 1 hour here. The 1 hour, we have the lower high here, then a lower low, lower high, a lower low, right? Then from there, these movements broke these two previous highs, so we take that as what? A higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. This low has not been broken. This low has not been broken. So I wouldn't say the trend is now bearish. Hadn't been this lower low, higher low has been broken, then I'll confirm that this trend is bearish. But for now, this trend is only bearish for counter trend trade. You understand? So these trades we are taking here are counter trend trades. You understand? So these trades are counter trend trades to sell, just to, you know, not to miss the pips in selling, and then also get the pips in selling to enter the proper demand zones we have below. But if you are not so good in taking counter trend trades, don't disturb yourself on taking the trades. Just wait for markets to play out into your demand levels, and then you take your entries at those levels. This is what I'm expecting on GBP USD. So next week again, we're going to look into that and see how it's played out so far. Remember, I'm expecting sales from here into this demand zone. So let me draw out my tool. Either this zone or the other zone. Yeah, or this second zone we have over here. So this is what I'm expecting for next week. The sales are just for the meantime, and then if we are lucky enough, we can, you know, start the beginning of a downtrend just from catching a counter trend trade. That is the advantage of a counter trend trade, because you might not know if it's just a counter trend or a change of trend. You understand? So, but if this demand should hold, giving us our confirmation entries, then you start closing your selling opportunities. But while the market is still ranging here and has not given us entries, without using take profit, you might still hold your trades, or markets might want to come into this zone. So luckily enough, you can, you know, hold trades from here to here. That's almost 400 pips, right? So because this JPY is very volatile, we have just 400 pips from this zone to this zone here, which is very, very beautiful. Yeah, that is how I'm expecting JPY to play out for next week. Now, lastly, on currency pairs, let's look at Euro USD and how it's played out since last week. Okay, Euro USD, my supply zones are still there. They were not mitigated, okay? But still, while trading inside this range, we had the demand zone here. I gave us a nice break of structure outside. Yeah, we had a nice break of structure from there, and it mitigated the demand zone nicely. You can see the aggressive push to the upside. So going down to the 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 3 minutes, you can get your entries off this zone and then, you know, push it up to this point. I'm not going down so much explaining entries now because we're just analyzing. So let's go to the weekly time frame and see what it has for us. Entering the weekly time frame now, very, very bearish. Let's check the daily time frame. Daily time frame, from here, we had a break of structure to the upside. Had a break of structure to the upside. Markets is trying to mitigate this demand zone, as you can see, trying to give us a higher low, then give us another higher high. But now we have equal lows. You understand? We have equal lows here. Adding it was something like this, then it should have been reasonable, right? But now market is giving us something like this. Yeah, this is what we have currently. So higher lows, double lows here, equal lows here. Sometimes it might be a sign of reversal. Sometimes it may be a sign that market wants to, use the supply zone here and grab some liquidity here, grab the liquidity of these lows. So we never can tell what the market is up to right now, but still playing with the other flow and following the other flow, you shouldn't get wrong here. Okay, it might just be a higher low, then might break out this high. So if we get a breakout from this high, then we are safe. Then this zone might not be a liquidity grab zone. Now moving to the 4-hour time frame, my supply zones are still intact. I'm still expecting reactions from there. Remember, the weekly is very, very bearish. Looking at the 4-hour time frame is also bearish with these aggressive, impulsive candles that we have up here. I'm expecting a mitigation into these supply zones, mitigating these imbalance also, you can see. So I'm expecting more sales actually, because you can see now the buys are not so sharp. The buys are not so sharp, but the sales are very, very sharp. So I would say we are still bearish following the weekly time frame. Now entering into the 1-hour time frame, you can see it's a little bit choppy here, ranging for past 1 week. Market is just ranging, mitigating demand zones, and we had another demand zone here again, as you can see clearly. So the demand zones are holding, but the market is moving and reacting slowly, which means the buyers or the bulls might not be so active in the market until we get into a supply zone. Okay, so I'm still expecting the supply zones to be active, because now we have a lot of activities creating liquidity below these supply zones. As you can see here, we have liquidity engineered there, and we're expecting liquidity to be swept with the use of what? With the use of this supply zone over here, and then move to the downside. Else we wait for this other supply zone over here. So I think this is what I'm expecting on Euro USD, expecting sales from either of these two zones. And if any of these two zones, if market breaks above these zones, then we can be using the demand zones to continue looking for buying opportunities, and then continue pushing price to the upside, following this other flow, this bullish other flow inside the market over here. So inside the range, inside this range over here. So this is what's Euro USD for next week. Remember, I'm expecting sales here and sales here. But if these sales don't hold, then you can continue using demand zones to keep pushing prices higher like that, and then from there we can get a trend shifts, and this daily time frame might come up to this point here, right? There's supply overall there, so that's what I'm expecting. And then this one might give us a higher high and then higher low, continue like that, but we can't say yet. Let's follow what is inside the 1-hour time frame. Let's see if this supply zone is going to hold. If it doesn't, then we continue bullish. Yeah, as always, crash 1000. Crash 1000 has been doing the most. Has been spiking aggressively. Got some entries somewhere here yesterday. I'll be explaining volatility 75 1x index, and then volatility 75 index as usual. and what we should be expecting for the week. Okay. Okay, these ones were last 2 weeks zones, and looking at Volatility 75, that supply zone didn't get mitigated, almost mitigated it, and then started pushing to the downside, right? I like working with the 1 hour time frame because you know everything is day trading, so I work with the 1 hour time frame. But if you're into scalping, you should start your analysis from the 30 minutes and then 50 minutes. But because I'm doing day trading, I'm starting from the daily 4 hours and then sometimes weekly. And then if you are swingers, then you should know you should make use of the monthly time frame. Okay. This is what I have on Volatility 5 has been trending aggressively to the downside and has not given opportunity for entry since. So I'll just leave this since I don't even trade it. I trade only crash 1000 on this volatility index. Let's move to volatility 751 index and see what it does for us. Okay. Okay, I think all these were last 2 weeks setups and they also played out very, very nicely. Now we had this supply zone mitigated here, mitigated nicely. If you were using 1 hour trading confirmation, you'd have gotten a breakout of that low, and then your entry would be where? Your entry is going to be on the 1 hour supply zone, right? You'd have gotten beautiful entries over here using 1 hour entry. If you're using 1 hour entry, you should know that your stop loss is going to be a little bit wide, but the risk to reward is going to be crazy. Okay, so that is just it. What do I have next on this pair? Nothing much actually. Seems these guys have been trending to the downside so far, and then it has been aggressive. No room for entry, no opportunity for entry. Okay, so now market has mitigated our volatility 751S index. Let's go down to the 5 minutes time frame to look for entries. Okay. Yeah, this is what I have on volatility 751S index. I'm waiting for a nice break of structure here. Once I get the break of structure outside this low, then definitely remember I'm not trading this pair. I'm only saying this on behalf of this YouTube video. Okay, so once I get the breakout, also known as break of structure, my sell will be there. My sell limit is going to be there, and this is what I'll be trading. Yes, volatility 751 is that is what I'm expecting on this pair. Okay, but if I get a beautiful entry according to my entry analysis and trading plan, I might enter the trade. Okay, and then if I don't, I might not enter. Let's check the 1 minute time frame. Entering the 1 minute time frame, you can see now it's making a lot of noise. So let me just go back to my 5 minutes time frame. Let's go back to the 5 minutes time frame. Beautiful. So when we get the break of structure, I should be expecting entry here, right? So this, I'm going to give you guys the response or the feedback next week, or you can also check your, MetaTrader for the results. So this is what I'm expecting, but this is not my entry. This is not the entry I use. So just, stay safe. I think that will be all for now, right? So, yeah, so we still had some beautiful trades during the week. BTC, USD JPY, and then GBP USD, Yeah, so if you want to join my mentorship or crypto signals group, my crypto signals, I send signals on only BTC, okay? Only BTC, and then, yes. So just chat me on my Instagram or Telegram or WhatsApp. I'm going to get back to you. If you are new to this channel, make sure you click on the subscribe button to subscribe so you can get beautiful content like this. If you have a question, let me know in the comment section, and also give the video a thumbs up to help the algorithm. I think that will be all for now. Peace, guys. See you next week.